I mean, most of my stuff is about relationships, even though I haven't had one for quite some time. But it's amazing, you know, the amount of songs that have been written about love, and no one seems to kind of understand what it's about. Because love's a bit like God, you know, you just have to kind of believe that it exists, and I'm not even sure if it does. Been getting a lot of requests to write with people, so talking about maybe writing with Robbie. She could use my help. Pretty good. The last album was terrible, wasn't it? When she's like that point now where she's like throwing anything out. Needs another Angels or something really classy. Yeah, that stupid, that new thing he's got out, the religious thing. Jesus Christ! Jenny Wash makes Ronnie Keaton look like a Jesus genius. No, I'd like to work with him though. I was going to work with Guy Chambers and him, but I didn't like Guy Chambers. Who's an arrogant Let's use that.
In the years since John Moss and George split up, John has married and had children, whilst George lives alone in East London, where he makes art about his fantasies, from the idolization of female friends to his ongoing sexual desires for unattainable men.
Hi, come in. Come into my den of iniquity.
I don't always do what other boys do. No, depending on my mood, I may change the rules.
It's kind of interesting getting guys, particularly straight guys, get their asses out. They kind of enjoy it, you know, like enjoy it showing off. Because it's like, it's, you know, if you're trying to get someone to pose, they get really awkward. It's like, come on, stick your ass out. And they immediately start feeling like a girl, which is great. You know, it's all about, like, what you can't have, basically. Because most of these guys are straight guys. So, you know, the bum's a no-go area, apparently. Maybe for their girlfriends.
He's always kind of liked kind of people that are slightly unattainable, I suppose, you know. He's always been after, like, a straight boy or... You know, and there's a sort of, I don't know, there's something of the challenge there, and I don't know what it is in him that, I don't think it's uncommon. I think a lot of gay people do that, you know, but he gets, certainly, yeah, obsessed with people, you know, and has done in the past.
But I don't think you can help what you fancy, you know. I mean, you know, people always say that about gay people, oh, you know, you just go after things you can't have, but you can have them. I mean, my mum was saying to me a couple of weeks ago, you know, the sort of people you get off with, where's it going? I'm like, well, you were married for 43 years and my dad left you. Where's anything going?
George has had numerous casual partners since John Moss, and his obsession with sex is evident throughout his home.
Tribute to Tracy Emin. Nobody really knows anything about my sex life. Never really has, you know, it's just not public. So, I mean, anything that's written about my sex life. And also, I don't ever go out with people that would ever talk about me anyway. I've never been worried about it. Not that I'd care anyway. I mean, I wouldn't worry about anything being in the press like that. You know, I'm not bothered about any of that. Someone said, oh, I'm going to sell a story, I'd be like, go ahead. I'll just say you had a really small penis. You were crap. You weren't worth the money.
Tirelessly romantic and still looking for the men of his dreams, George uses the internet as a way to find potential lovers.
Everyone on there's like straight acting, you know, it's like, which always makes me laugh, you know, straight acting, meaning it's an act. Because, I mean, you know, don't look that straight when you've got a cock in your mouth, do you?
George also uses the net to hire male escorts.
It's sex, you know. And straight people have been doing it for years, you know. Prostitution's the oldest, you know, most respected, you know. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think if you want to do it and you're good at it, and I mean, people do enjoy sex. Some people enjoy it, you know. Some people are disturbed, you know, and some people actually just like fucking. It's my business. You know, something happens to me, it's my business. I'm going through it, not nobody else. You know, when I was arrested in New York, it was me going through it, not nobody else, you know. I was getting abused by the police. That was my experience. It wasn't anybody else's experience.
This was exactly 1 month before George had to return to America to do his community service, and the tensions were beginning to show.
I mean, you know, yeah, it's going to be over with. I'll do it. Hopefully I won't. I mean, you know, there have been times in the last few days when I've really come close to, like, exploding. And I've really had to kind of, you know what, George, let it go.
What George didn't realise was that his community service would spark a 5-day battle with the world's press.
I said, if you come near me anymore, I'm going to put this shovel through your neck.
During Culture Club's meteoric rise in the early 1980s, Boy George had veered away from the normal rock and roll cliches and was vehemently anti-drugs.
George was incredibly anti-drugs. I mean, he once came into a hotel room and there was Roy and myself and one other character, and this other person had a joint in his hand. And George hit the roof. He went berserk.
If we ever got stopped and there was drugs found on anything, I'd definitely leave Culture Club.
A couple of years later, you know, George did a reversal and started doing drugs himself.
The beginnings of George's drug addiction coincided with